Any health-related information on the following show provides general information only. Content presented on any show by any host or guest should not be substituted for a doctor's advice. Always consult your physician before beginning any new diet, exercise, or treatment program.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Inspired and Empowered Living TV show and podcast, and for a thriving life and business. And we are live on Thursdays at 5 p.m. Eastern on talk4tv.com, w4wn.com, and my YouTube channel. And today we are going to be talking about, we're continuing the Next Chapter series. And today, the episode we're doing, episode 4, is Trusting the Unknown. So what happens is when you're stepping into this next chapter, it often means that you're leaving behind certainty before you can clearly see what's ahead. And so during this episode, we will explore how to move beyond what you need to have so that you don't feel like you have to have all the answers, and how to strengthen the trust in yourself and in your intuition, and how to take inspired action towards the path, even when it isn't fully revealed or clear. And so before we jump into the episode for today, I want to talk a little bit, because I said I would, and I want to talk a little bit about where we were talking about last show. And I said that we would share how to tell the difference between healthy caution and fear-based staying. So last session, we were talking about the fear of leaving the familiar. And what happens is really being able to learn that what is real, like what is the real fear, or is that it, do you need to have the caution? Do you need to be cautious? So let's explore what the truth is, where you do need to have healthy caution, or I'll even venture healthy fear. Fear is not all bad, because what happens is fear is giving you a message. But when it becomes paralyzing and you can't move through it, and we're going to be talking in today's episode about courage and being able to take the steps through the fear. But let's talk a little bit about how to tell that difference between healthy caution and when you're in the fear-based staying. So what is really important for you to know is that not every hesitation means go now. You gotta go now. We're not talking about reckless decisions. We're talking about learning to discern. Discernment. Discerning, is this a wise decision? Is this wise pacing? Is this the step that I need to move forward towards? And again, in today's show, we're going to talk more about your intuition to help guide you every step of the way. And then asking yourself, is this fear keeping you stuck? So Is it wise or is it keeping you stuck? And that's something that it's about learning how to discern and decipher what is really the truth. So let me give you examples. So fear-based staying sounds like, I'll do it when I'm completely ready. I need to eliminate all uncertainty first. I can't move until everyone I know understands me and approves of me. Or I need a guarantee. That's fear. Now, healthy discernment sounds like, I'm choosing to honor my timing, and I still choose to move forward. And remember, in past sessions, we've been talking about baby steps. So if you're taking the baby steps, you are moving forward. I may not know everything, but I'm willing to take the next step. Or it could be, I may not know what I need to know, but I will research and learn what I need to know in order to take the next step. I'm listening to my intuition, not just my fear. I'm gathering information and support, but I'm not abandoning myself. And that's really key here. When you're in fear-based thinking, there is self-abandonment. But when you're in healthy discernment, you're not abandoning yourself. You're taking care of yourself. It's part of your self-care. So that's how there is a distinguishing between them. So teaching. So I really want you to know that readiness is created through movement, not through, oh my God, I'm ready now. Now I can move. You may always have a little bit of fear, or you may have some fear. And even if you're taking the baby steps, it means you're moving forward. And like I said before, courage is not the absence of fear. It's the ability to keep moving through the fear no matter what. And it's about having the trust, which is where we're headed now, is trusting the unknown, trusting yourself. And that is really what we're talking about now. So let's talk about trust. And like I said, over the past few weeks, we've explored signs you've outgrown your current chapter, why your soul is calling you forward, and last session was fear of leaving the familiar. So so let me ask you some questions. Have you ever wished someone could simply tell you, please just tell me what to do? If you could just tell me what to do, make it easy. Or, you know what? I got a better one for you. God or universe, why don't you just scream in my ear, tell me what to do? Or guides, angels, tell me what to do. So then you know exactly what to do. But it doesn't always appear or sound or show up like that. And have you ever delayed a decision because you couldn't see the whole path? And if you've ever thought, what if I make the wrong decision? And I've had a lot of clients, what if I make the wrong decision? How can I move forward? What if it doesn't work? What if I move into this new place and it doesn't work? And what if I can't handle what's next. But what I want you to know is that it's about taking the actions, even the baby steps, even though you don't have the certainty. And that's where the trust comes in. Life doesn't usually work the way where you know all the answers, you got it all doing, you got it all on your plate. That's where risk comes in. And in life, we need to risk. That's where courage is about risking in the face of the unknown. And it's about moving forward, even if you don't and you can't see the whole path. So let's talk a little bit about maybe why the unknown may feel so scary and so uncomfortable. So, what I want you to know is that the unknown isn't dangerous, it's unfamiliar. But what happens is your brain has has this desire, wants everything to predict the outcomes so that you feel safe. And when it can't predict what's coming, it interprets uncertainty as danger. And so, what happens is when you have that uncertainty and your brain is predicting danger, you'll go into anxiety, you'll go into overthinking, you may procrastinate, you may doubt yourself. And you have this desire to stay things where things feel familiar or feel predictable. And that's because your nervous system loves the certainty, but your soul loves growth. And sometimes they can be in conflict. And I talked about something like one of my mentors years ago was talking about your growing edge. And your growing edge is just growing into the next step, growing into that next place that feels, you may have fear, but you can go there. You can stretch yourself to be able to move to that next step. And so this is a journey. This is a process. This doesn't mean you're going to have it, you're going to get it overnight. And Mickey says, trust is not easy to have, especially once it is broken. So you're right, Mickey. Trust is not easy to have. And here's the thing, and you can even feel like, how can you trust yourself? Because maybe you've never trusted yourself. Maybe you've had experiences in your life where you've never really felt you could trust yourself. But what I'm going to tell you is your biggest growing edge is learning to trust yourself through this journey into the unknown. And I'm going to give you a visual right now. So I want you to imagine you're on an adventure, the adventure of life. You're on this life adventure, okay? And we are all living the adventure. We're on this path. And sometimes you may take baby steps on the path. Sometimes you may take bigger steps on the path. I mean, some people even take quantum leaps on the path. And you know how when you have a windy path, because life is never a straight line. It just ain't a straight line. You're going to have ups and downs. It's part of being human. So you have this windy path and you can't really see all the way in front. You can only see perhaps the next step and then the next step, especially if it may be really cloudy or foggy. Okay. So what I want you to know is that that's what I want you to visualize. As we go through the show today, I want you to imagine you're on the path of life that's windy and you're having this windy road. It brings me back to a Beatles song, The Long and Winding Road. Just popped in. So, yes, life is the long and winding road. So, why do you wait for clarity? You wait for clarity because it feels safer. And so you may tell yourself, I'll move when I'm sure. I'll act when I'm ready. I'll know when it's the right time. And once I have all the answers, then I'll begin. But I want you to know that many times you really may not have the clarity. You may never be sure. You may never be ready. You may never feel it's the right time, especially when you have fear ruling you. But what I want you to know is I do believe through intuition, you're going to get a sense that that this is the right time. Or sometimes what happens is opportunities appear, and it's your job or your journey to say yes to those opportunities. So, but again, now I really want you to know that I'm all about intuition and trusting and tuning in. And it's not intuition in a vacuum, it's practical intuition. I'm all about, because I'm always talking about psychology, and it's bringing the psychology and the intuition together. So it's practical intuition, and it's knowing that you may never feel ready to start that business. You may never feel ready to start or to leave a job or a career. You may never feel ready to write the book or to start speaking publicly. Or you may not feel ready to start a new relationship or start looking for the love of your life. Or you may never feel ready to move to a new place. And the reason why and you can notice that I'm saying feel, because if fear is ruling you, you won't allow yourself to tap into your intuition so that you can allow yourself to feel and move towards. Because in this place of intuition, there's a sense, there's a knowing. And you may still feel the fear, but underneath, there's a knowing or a sense. This is my next step. This is my next step. And I also want you to know that every part of the journey usually happens. It usually happens that you may not have the certainty. You probably won't have the certainty, but it doesn't mean that you don't take the next step. So, really important to remember. Now, the difference between trust and certainty. So, what is the difference? And certainty, that need to feel certain, is actually coming from your ego. It's coming from, oh my God, I have to feel certain before I can move. I have to know how this is going to all turn out. And most of the time in our lives, we don't have that certainty, especially now in today's world. There's so much uncertainty. And that's why it's important more than ever before to really start working on trusting yourself. And trust says, I don't know how exactly this is going to turn out, but I can trust myself that I can handle whatever comes. And it's trusting and having the confidence in yourself. You may not know the future, but you have this faith and trust in yourself that you can do it. You can work it out. And I'm also going to tell you, like, I'm on this new journey, and I'm not going to be specific right now because we're still in it. But I knew, like, this is an example of what I'm talking about and trusting the unknown. So what happens is I was starting to get guided that when I started this next chapter series, I realized that I'm starting a next chapter too. And I was like, okay. And so I could feel this energy of being guided, that something more was wanting to come through. There was more ahead for me. And this opportunity came to me, and I wasn't sure whether I should do it or not do it. But again, what I did was I meditated and I went inward, and it was through my intuition that I was getting guided to say yes to this opportunity. Just like I said to you, you may not be sure this is it, but if the opportunity appears, and even if you may feel fear, but there's this knowing, because that was what was happening. I was feeling like a knowing that this was the next step. And there was fear and there was excitement, because fear and excitement actually are the opposites. They both happen in the stomach. It's like this energy that you feel in your stomach. Maybe it's the butterflies. And on one side is the fear, and then on the other side is the excitement. And when you transform the fear, it becomes excitement. So during this process that I'm in, I'm moving through the fear. I'm taking the steps, just like I'm supporting all of you to do, and moving through the fear and feeling the excitement of what's possible, where I'm moving towards, what's next. So I want you to know I'm right there with you in the journey. You're not alone. You're not alone. I'm right here with you. So let's talk about learning to trust your intuition. So what happens with intuition is you're not going to get the whole picture. And even if you have visions, you may get like a vision of what's coming. Like some people who are visionaries can start getting a whole sense. Like, you know who comes to my mind? Steve Jobs. I feel like he was a visionary, and he had a sense. He could see what was coming into the future, and he would act on it. And so most people don't function like that. And so you rally, R-A-R-E-L-Y, rally. That's really funny. I'm having trouble saying the word, but anyway, you hardly ever, how about that? That way, you hardly ever will have the whole picture. Okay. And what will happen is your intuition is going to guide you. It's going to guide you and offer you nudges and feelings and insights. And there's this, remember I said that there was this knowing, it was a knowing I needed to do it. And so sometimes the knowing feels really strong and powerful. And sometimes it can be a quiet knowing, like you just know. And all of those are the different ways that intuition comes through. And it may be synchronicities or repeated messages or the signs like billboard signs. I mean, I've had experiences where I've seen billboards and I knew that that was a way that I was being communicated, or messages on trucks or license plates. So what happens with your intuition is you get guided. This is the next step. And like I said, it doesn't always come in loud voices, or it could be very subtle. That's why it's really important to be present and quiet and listening, receptive for the way your intuition. Now, some people get really strong gut feelings or even subtle gut feelings. Some people get the knowings, or you may get some kind of visual cues like the signs or symbols. And your intuition will say, next step, this is the next step. It won't say, here's the whole plan ahead of you. Not going to happen. And that ego part of you wants those guarantees. That's the brain wanting the certainty, wanting the safety. And yet your soul is giving you the guidance through your intuition. This is the next step. And I want you to think about a time when you trusted your intuition, a feeling, a sense, a knowing. Or maybe you store signs. I mean, maybe you see signs from loved ones. I mean, I have clients that talk to me about signs that they know their loved ones are communicating with them through birds, through nature, through feathers, through coins. I had a client that would say, oh, whenever I see a nickel or a penny and a dime, and now pennies are rare, so, or getting rarer since they're not minting them anymore, it's going to be a sign from, and it could be nickels and dimes. I mean, it could be anything. Like, you get a sense, you get a knowing that you're being guided, supported. I want you to think about a time where you trusted your intuition and what happened when you sensed it and trusted it. How did it feel? How did it feel? And so here's the thing. Let's talk about what happens if you make a wrong decision. But before we jump into that, let's talk about, I want you to all know that I have a guided journey for you, a visualization that you can use to help you clear your energy and quiet your brain, your mind, so that you can tap into the wise part of you that I call your higher self, and ask for guidance, ask for decisions, ask for next steps, and then listen for the answers and how the answers come. Because part of your intuition is learning how you get your intuition. How do you get the answers? So tap into that. And I have this visualization, and it's called, what you're going to do is you go to the link inspiredandempoweredliving.com/meditation. Meditation. So it's the name of the TV show and podcast, Inspired and Empowered Living.com/meditation. And when you do that, and there's also a PDF, so you can read through it or you can read it instead of listening, whatever works for you. Let yourself be supported by this journey so that you are moving forward in your life. And so now let's talk about what happens if you make the wrong decision. So, and I can't even begin to tell you how many of my clients have this issue. And it's one of the biggest fears. It's one of the biggest fears of making a decision, one of the biggest fears of moving forward on a path that is unknown. So instead of asking yourself, what if I make the wrong decision? What I really want you to reframe and ask and change it around and say, what if every decision I make is teaching me something? So very few decisions will permanently ruin your life. And I will tell you, every single experience that you are having in your life is a learning opportunity. And it's about you reframing and thinking about moving forward and the lessons you're going to learn from it. The redirections that are possible, the preparation that it takes, and the opportunities that it provides. So, and I really want you to know that, remember I said, it's a path, it's a journey, and you just need to keep taking the next step and the next step. And you may not see, you may be foggy, or you may start seeing the sunshine and you start seeing more of the path, the light at the end of the tunnel, getting all these visuals. And know that every step you take, every decision you make will help give you clarity about the next step, the next possibility, the next opportunity. It's part of the journey. And what I also want you to know is that even if it looks like a detour, that path is where you're meant to go. And one of the biggest things that I really want to share with you, and I've seen it in my own life, is I've seen how many times I've taken the detours and I'm like, why did I go that way? Or why did I do that? But as I look back, I understand now why. And I also understand that every step I have taken has gotten me, and this is for you, every step you've taken has gotten you where you are now. And even if you're in fear, the steps that you've taken are part of the journey so that you can keep learning the trust in yourself. And learning to trust yourself is the greatest gift. It's the greatest gift you can give yourself. Because ultimately, self-trust, it's so crucial. It's essential on this journey of life. And course correct. Mickey goes, course correct. I love it. Yep. Course correct. So let's talk about 5 ways to build trust. The first one is to stay present. So a lot of time when you go into the future and you go into the what ifs, what if this happens? What if that happens? What if? Forget the what ifs, forget the future. Breathe right here, right now, present time. And you don't need to figure it all out. You just need to be present right here, right now, and take the next step from what you know, what you're feeling right now. Now, the second step in building your trust is strengthening your intuition. So I really want to support you in spending time in quietness, in nature. Nature can help bring you into that quiet state of being. Spend time in meditation or prayer or journaling. All of that can lead to helping you to listen to yourself. Because in order to strengthen your intuition, you need to be able to hear, feel, sense, and know what's happening in present time. Really important. And this is really important too. Celebrate the evidence. So often you may overlook things, but learning to notice every time life supports you, every time you have an answered prayer, every time that there is a coincidence, which I call a synchronicity, that something, and for me, it feels like something magical or miraculous is happening. It makes life fun. Write them down, notice them, celebrate them. Every opportunity that comes to you, even if you're getting not to say yes right now, notice the opportunity and say thank you, because it may be not the right opportunity or not the right time, but thank you for the opportunity, so that when it's time or when it's the moment, that's the right opportunity, that's the right time. And every moment you have the courage, that you have the courage to say yes, that you have the courage to take that step forward, whether it's a baby step, whether it's a big step. Every time you have the courage to risk and take a step, that is so important to celebrate. That's a huge win for you. And I really want to support you in doing that and taking small, courageous steps. And it's those steps, step by step, baby step, big step, whatever step. And just know that trust and confidence grows with every confidence in yourself, trust in yourself grows with every step you take. It's part of the journey. It's part of having that experience so that you can learn to feel more confident in where you're going and what's next, even if you don't know. And that's also what's happening. I mean, like I've seen it in my life so many times where I trusted it and I've gone with it. And as you practice, I think you've all heard practice, practice, practice. And I'm not saying practice makes perfect, because there is no perfection, but practice and taking action gives you more and more clarity. And then 5 is remembering your past and thinking about how much you have overcome, how many difficult seasons you've already survived. And how many times you may have thought, am I ever going to make it through this? And yet you're here and you have. And even if you're going through a difficult time, what I want you to know is every step, just keep taking the steps, moving through it, one step at a time, one step at a time. And so that's what it's about. That's what it's about. And so we're going to talk more about this next week. Living with faith instead of fear. Going to continue on. And what I really want you to know, you are on the edge of a new chapter. And it's learning to trust yourself. It's learning to say yes. It's learning when that intuition, when your intuition, when that feeling, sense, knowing is giving you that yes, yes. Like I said, it's most of the time, it's not a big, it's the subtle. Or have you ever heard the still small voice? And so one step at a time. And so next week, we're going to do episode 5. And this is about reinventing yourself at any age. Have you ever wondered, is it too late to begin again? Too late to start a new career? Too late to start a business? Too late to pursue a dream? Too late to become the person you've always wanted to be? So let's talk more about reinventing yourself at any age. And I want to support you. And I see Mickey has a question. And Mickey, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring that question into next week. So I will answer your question next week. What are the chapter lengths and do we get to decide? So good question. And more will be revealed next week. And so join us next week for more inspired and empowered living and the next chapter series. We're live on Thursdays at 5 p.m. Eastern on talk4tv.com, w4wn.com, my YouTube channel. And you can hear the podcast on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, and many more. And I am wishing you all an inspired and empowered week, an inspired and empowered day and night. Have a great one, everybody. Bye for now.